Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. This is Marcelo Sugde for Whirlwind Radio. In this, the first episode for Season 2, we would like to talk about the private company that has been given the approval to travel to the moon. Also, we'll look at a new feature to unlock your phone with your eyes. And later on in the show, we will hear from Laskey Hart about what he found interesting at a Sage event that took place last week in Chicago. A private company named Moon Express has officially become the first company in the world to receive permission to travel beyond Earth's orbit. After months of conversations with the government officials, the company received the green light from the FAA, which is the Federal Aviation Administration, to venture to the moon in 2017. According to Bob Richards, he is the co-founder and CEO of Moon Express, they are now free to set sail as explorers to Earth's 8th continent, the moon, seeking new knowledge and resources. The approval by the FAA marks an important milestone for private companies in the space industry because so far all commercial space activities have been limited to operations within Earth's orbit, but now the moon is a possibility. Moon Express came into existence due to Google Lunar X Prize, which is an international contest with $30 million up for grabs for any private company who can land on the moon and travel across its surface. Now, if Moon Express is successful, they will become the fourth entity in history to soft land on the moon. The first three were all superpowers. Remember, the US, the USSR, and China. This is amazing to see that change from superpowers now to private companies having a crack at outer space. This goes to show how technology is changing rapidly, that even a small company can make such a large impact in space. According to what we understand, is that Moon Express has just under 30 employees. Moon Express has just under 30 employees. Also, what is important to note is that the permission given to Moon Express doesn't necessarily set a precedent for other companies. The company has been given permission, and this is a one-time exception for Moon Express. All future requests to travel beyond Earth's orbit will be decided upon by a case-by-case basis by the US government, until they have laws in place that will govern this activity. Now, similar to flight traffic control, the US government would need to provide clearance to travel to uncharted territory for civilian exploration to any private company. Moon Express is expected to launch to the moon in the second half of 2017 with a rocket provided by Rocket Lab. This first mission will be a one-way trip. Once on the surface of the moon, the company hopes to win further X Prize awards by moving across the surface. Instead of roving, they will refire their rockets on the surface and hop to different locations. So why would a private company want to go to the moon? According to Moon Express, in the future they are expecting to make money by harvesting resources on the moon, like water and helium-3, as well as creating a fuel depot on the surface of the moon, and eventually performing round-trip missions with the capability of bringing back payloads to the Earth. This approval by the FAA looks like a spark that will ignite the interest of more private companies to have a presence in outer space with the aim of making money. At this time, we are only limited by our imagination. This reminds us of the quote by George Mallory when he was asked why he would want to climb Mount Everest, to which he replied, "Because it's there." Recently, Samsung came out with the Galaxy Note 7, the first smartphone to ship with an iris scanner that can read your eyes and let you enter your phone in a matter of seconds. If you're a fan of Samsung, you may notice that they've skipped the Note 6 to keep up with the rest of their line, bringing us their Galaxy Note 7. The biggest selling feature of the Note 7 is the new biometric option in the form of an infrared iris scanner that just takes seconds to set up and also to unlock the phone with a glance of either eye. And there is still the fingerprint scanner for those of us who are wearing glasses like me. It also comes with a 4-digit passcode that you can use to unlock your phone. The Note 7 also expands on a feature to give sensitive files an additional layer of security. You'll be asked for an iris scan, a fingerprint, or passcode to access documents you place in a secure folder. This way, if you're handing your phone to friends to browse pictures, you're not inadvertently giving them access to confidential work documents that you may have on the phone. The Note 7 also comes with similar specifications to the Galaxy S7 Edge. It is waterproof. It can go to depths of 1.5 meters for about 30 minutes. It also has a 12 megapixel camera on the back and a 4 gigabyte of RAM, along with a 64 gigabyte of storage. The Note 7 also has the integrated S Pen stylus, which is now waterproof and will work when the screen is wet. Samsung has also made the screen ready for the new high dynamic range video standard, which is rolling out across high-end televisions, supported by content from Amazon's Prime Video service, among others. Samsung has also made some changes to the Android 6.0.1 Marshmallow software to have the ability to turn video into GIF files directly from the screen, and various other stylus-related tools as well, including the ability to write on the smartphone's screen while it's asleep without having to wake it up. Overall, it looks like the Note 7 will keep the Note fans happy and may convert a few others to its cause. So Laskey, since you were at the Sage event last week in Chicago, what are some of the interesting things that came up at that event that you can share with our audience?
Thanks, Marcelo. Yeah, it was a great conference down in Chicago last week, and I was able to attend the conference and hear some of the announcements that are coming out over the next year for Canada and the US with Sage products. And some of those exciting unveilings were the fact that Sage is really looking to create a product, as Sage is the market leader for integrated accounting, payroll, and payment systems. They're looking to make that a lot of more of an easy process. So instead of payroll and accounting and payment services being this very technical, very dry job, they're trying to create it to be something that's as easy as using apps on a phone or creating systems that are easy to onboard clients and such. Just making it a more of a smooth transition so that there's less time spent in the administration of the product and more time spent doing the job. So the main focus that Sage had this year was really empowering entrepreneurs, whether that's in small, medium, or full-size enterprise businesses. And they made some changes to some of their products and their software. One of the cool additions that they added this year was Peg, and it's essentially an app, but instead of being an app that you upload onto your phone and then use from there, it's actually a number. And so when you set this program up, Peg becomes a contact in your phone list. So you can text Peg and say, hey Peg, how much do we have in the master account for whatever the company is? And Peg will text you back, similar to how Siri would talk to you back on your phone, and Peg would say, we have X amount of dollars in the main account. Or if you were to say, hey Peg, how much does X company still owe us? What's outstanding? Peg would respond and say X company owes whatever the number is. And so it's really a cool technology that they've come out with, and they did some live demoing on the stage. So it was really interesting to see how they're taking what used to be just a very dry and droll job field and creating something that's very unique and very interesting, and something that you can imagine a small business owner would love to be able to text that quote-unquote secretary that's not real, obviously, but to text that person and get a response instead of waiting till they got back to the office, waiting till they booted up their laptop, whatever the case may be. One of the other huge announcements that they talked about was the partnership with Microsoft, partnering with Microsoft 365 to just create that immersive live cloud experience, which is huge for small businesses to be able to do that business, especially if they have offices that are around the country and things like that, to have up-to-date and live communication between departments, as well, not to mention the fact that it's going paperless. So it's creating a more effective program that is able to be done anywhere, so you can do your business anywhere.
That is very cool, Laskey. The big idea there that they're using now, you can make accounting and payroll less of a monotonous job, I guess. I also heard that they did something with iOS applications this year. What was that about?
That's right, Marcel. They actually unveiled some interesting iOS application adjustments that they made for Sage 1 and Sage Live. They had Jennifer Warawa, the Executive VP of Product Marketing, do a little interesting video where she was driving around Chicago, and she was showing what they've done with Sage 1 and Sage Live, where you can not only view, say on an iPad, where your current fleet vehicles are, you can see it up to the minute. So if you have that one delivery man who keeps saying he gets stuck in traffic, yet you see him stopping off at the Krispy Kreme every time he goes to make a delivery, well, then you know what's happening. But it makes it a lot easier to manage expenses and manage mileage on fleet vehicles, which is a really important thing, instead of manually entering it into a computer, onto paper, and then onto a computer. It just does it all automatically, which is just a fantastic which is just a fantastic tool for small businesses, especially to be able to use, because no longer do they have to stop and put in all the receipts, this, that, and the other thing. If they're using the company card and the company vehicle, it's all going to be automatically adjusted and entered into the computer system.
I also heard that they had some pretty awesome speakers on the stage here at Sage 2016.
Yeah, they definitely did. Sir Richard Branson, the founder of Virgin Group, Virgin Airlines, Virgin Records, he went up and just gave a fantastic speech encouraging entrepreneurs to just step out and try, but also to create companies that have people who can replace you, so that when you're a little bit older, you're able to spend more time with your family, build better businesses, things like that, instead of what a lot of small business owners do, and they get really engrossed and enveloped into the one company instead of finding people who could replace them. So he had just had a lot of good remarks about the giving economy as well, which was a big theme at this Sage event of getting yourself to the point where you can donate your time, where you can create foundations, where you can do things to give back to the community that you've been serving through your other businesses in the past for profit. So it was really awesome to hear from him. And also they had Zoe Deschanel and Gwyneth Paltrow come on the stage and talk about some of the small businesses that they've had and some of the experiences that they had with that, as well as the stars of Shark Tank. They had Damon John and Robert Herjavec, who's Canadian, I might add, come on the stage and just talk about their experience. They gave a talk called Sink or Swim, which there's an article up on our site about, which talked just about their experience from very young ages starting businesses and getting into the entrepreneurial world. And it was really interesting. They had a few really kind of funny stories. One from Robert was about his first big sale. And he had lost his job, and he had a mortgage to pay, and he was trying to get into the computer securities market. And so he went to General Electric and bid on a $40,000 job to give what was called the LinkBridge software. And GE essentially had a choice between two sources. They could buy it from him, a man who was working out of his basement, a single man company, or they could buy it from Sun Microsystems, which you can kind of imagine would be a very simple answer to that question. Go with Sun Microsystems, huge company, huge reputation. But he essentially just told them, listen, if you guys could really help me out, that'd be great. He talked to them. It was all about sort of being able to sell himself. And he got the bid. And so he was super excited, got out, got in his car, driving down the road. He called the software supplier and said, hey, I've got $35,000 worth of product to buy from you. And they said, great, send us over the money. And you can just imagine the sound of a screeching halt in his brain, as in, oh, wait, what? I have to come up with this money before? And so he asked them, can't you bill me later, that sort of thing. And of course, since he was a one-man person working out of his basement, there's no way that they're going to do that. So he turned his car around, went back to General Electric, pulled all the executives back into the room and sat them down and said, listen, I'm really ecstatic that you guys gave me this opportunity. I really appreciate it, but I need a favor. And he said, I need you guys to pay up front. And of course, General Electric looks at him and says, we're General Electric. We're good for the $40,000. You don't have to worry about us paying. And so he sort of had to explain the situation and just said, I need you guys to really help me out here. And if you do, I'm going to treat you better than anyone's ever treated you in the past. And again, just that sell, that honesty. And they said, sure. And they cut him a check. And that was his first big sale in his company there. And now it's an international brand, and he's, doing very, very well. But it was just really interesting to see some of the perspectives of these people. Even Damon John talking about selling things as a kid. It's just amazing. He had to help support his family at a young age, and just very entrepreneurial from the start. So I really enjoyed the different speeches that they brought in, the speakers, and the different perspectives that they brought to the table. I think it created a very well-rounded experience for all the young business owners and entrepreneurs that went to the event to learn about the Sage product. And they also came away with a lot of valid and exceptional, in fact, business advice.
Thanks, Laskey, for sharing your experiences with us here from the Sage event. Please head on over to iTunes and give us a review. We truly appreciate hearing from you, and of course to get your feedback. From the team here at Whirlwind Radio, this is Marcelo Sugdeo, your host, saying stay safe in the technology whirlwind.